Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Future Zusa. Today we're diving deep into the shocking collapse of Russia's 2025 summer offensive, a campaign that was supposed to change the course of the war in Ukraine, but instead has ended in spectacular failure. From massive troop deployments to strategic miscalculations, the numbers tell a story of disaster for Moscow and a striking victory for Ukraine. The summer of 2025 was meant to be a turning point. Russia amassed tens of thousands of troops in the Sumy and Pokrovsk regions with the goal of making decisive breakthroughs. The Kremlin envisioned a rapid, crushing campaign that would weaken Ukraine's defenses and allow Vladimir Putin to secure significant territorial gains. In particular, 50,000 soldiers were directed to the Sumy region, while another 110,000 were tasked with taking Pokrovsk, a vital city in eastern Ukraine. But as the months unfolded, the reality on the ground diverged sharply from Moscow's ambitious plans. Despite the buildup, Russia gained little. By the end of August, its so-called a grand offensive had resulted in minimal territorial advances and staggering human and material loss. On August 31, United 24 media reported a statement by the Ukrainian General Staff responding directly to Russia's attempts to portray the offensive as successful. According to the Ukrainian military, Russian claims were not just exaggerated, shrieked, they were blatant distortions. The statement highlighted that, after over 3.5 years of full-scale aggression, Russia's latest seasonal offensive achieved practically nothing. Moscow's propaganda sought to present wishful thinking as fact, but the numbers told a completely different story. From the beginning of 2025 until the end of August, Russia reportedly lost nearly 210,000 soldiers, a staggering figure that averages more than 26,000 casualties per month. Trends continued. Russia could lose more than 315,000 troops by the end of the year. While slightly lower than the 434,000 casualties suffered in 2024, these figures represent catastrophic human losses for the Russian military. Equipment losses were equally disastrous. Over 2,100 armored vehicles were destroyed, including more than 1,200 tanks, approximately 7,300 artillery systems, and 157 multiple-launch rocket systems. In the Kursk military district alone, which includes both defensive positions and the ongoing Sumy assaults, Ukraine claims that its forces eliminated over 19,000 Russian soldiers and wounded more than 25,000. These figures underscore a fundamental reality. The summer offensive inflicted far greater damage on Russia than it did on Ukraine. President Vladimir Zelensky emphasized this disparity on August 12, noting that Russia lost 3 times as many soldiers per day as Ukraine during the offensive. For instance, on August 11, Russian forces suffered 531 fatalities, 428 wounded, and 9 captured, while Ukrainian losses amounted to 340 soldiers, including 18 deaths, 243 wounded, and 79 missing. The human cost of Russia's summer campaign was catastrophic from an isolated occurrence. Putin hoped to force Ukraine to hand over significant portions of the Donbass, yet he lacked the leverage to compel such concessions. By design, the offensive was meant to be swift. Any delay would allow Ukraine to regroup, negating Russia's bargaining power. The summer offensive was meant to achieve decisive results quickly. Without them, Russia failed in both strategic and operational terms. Experts like Pavlo Lakichuk from the Center for Global Studies have highlighted that Russia's plan aimed to collapse Ukrainian defenses in the North Donbass and across the broader front. Instead, Russian gains crumbled almost immediately, undermining their objectives and setting the stage for further Ukrainian counterattacks. Oleksandr Kovalenko, a defense analyst, emphasized that Russia achieved no more than 10% of its planned objectives, failing to reach the outskirts of major cities and falling short in both Sumy and Pokrovsk. Ukraine's innovations in battlefield tactics further complicated Russia's offensive. Drones, precision strikes, and elite counter units disrupted Russian mechanized operations, while the loss of bridges and logistical choke points hampered resupply efforts. Small Russian units could infiltrate temporarily but lacked the strength to hold territory, enabling Ukraine to reclaim positions and inflict additional losses. By the end of the summer, Russia's offensive had failed on every major front. Sumy remained unconquered, Pokrovsk stood firm, and Putin's hopes of creating leverage for peace negotiations evaporated. With fall approaching and winter soon to follow, Russia is left without the strategic advantages it desperately sought, while Ukraine consolidates its position and prepares for the next phase of the conflict. In conclusion, the 2025 summer offensive serves as a stark illustration of Russia's declining military effectiveness. Massive casualties, equipment losses, and failed objectives paint a picture of a campaign that achieved nothing for Moscow. Ukraine's combination of strategic foresight, innovative tactics, and disciplined counterattacks has rendered Russia's grand plans moot. For viewers looking to understand the dynamics of modern warfare, this episode offers a clear lesson. Superior numbers alone are not enough. Logistics, adaptability, innovation, and the ability to exploit enemy mistakes are decisive. Ukraine has demonstrated all of these qualities, turning what was supposed to be a Russian turning point into a story of failure. That's why, despite reinforcements and ongoing attacks, Russia's summer offensive is officially over, a failed endeavor that leaves Putin frustrated, Trump impatient, and Ukraine in a much stronger position than ever before. As the conflict moves into fall and winter, the battlefield will continue to evolve, and Russia will face new challenges it never anticipated. Ukraine, on the other hand, has shown it can adapt, strike back, and hold its ground against even the most ambitious Russian offensives. If you want to keep up with the latest updates on the Ukraine war, the failures of Russian offensives, and Ukraine's strategic innovations, make sure to subscribe to Future Zusa. We cover everything from battlefield analyses to military technology, providing a detailed look at the events shaping the conflict today. So, what can we take away from Russia's disastrous summer campaign? First, preparation in numbers are not enough without strategy and adaptability. Second, Ukraine's use of counteroffensives and technological advantages demonstrates the importance of innovation in modern warfare. And third, even a supposedly decisive campaign can crumble when the human and material costs outweigh the operational benefits. The summer offensive of 2025 was meant to be Russia's big move. Instead, it has highlighted the weaknesses, poor planning, and overextension that continue to plague Moscow's military efforts. Ukraine's resilience, combined with precise, calculated counterattacks, has not only defended its territory, but also reshaped the battlefield in ways Russia never expected. As we move forward, it will be fascinating to see how these developments affect future negotiations, military planning, and the broader strategic situation in Eastern Europe. What is clear is that Ukraine has emerged stronger, more innovative, and better prepared to counter future Russian advances.